Okay, hello and welcome back, Squirrel Nation. Today is going to be the first what I call Auto Chess Basic Mechanics Guide. So if you all enjoy this guide, let me know and I can do future guides like this that are describing the basic mechanics of Auto Chess. This guide is going to get kind of deep into math, but I'm going to try to keep from going too deep into math and just give all of you insights that you can incorporate into your game. So anyways, with that said, let's dive in. So starting off, we have the hero pool. Okay, the first thing you need to consider is how many heroes there are for a given cost. So right here, we have the cost, 1 cost, 2 cost, 3 cost, 4 cost, 5 costs. And in the game currently, after the last update, there are 13 1 cost heroes, there are 14 2 cost heroes, etc. That's how you read this. Okay, the next column is very interesting, and that is how many of an individual hero there are at a given cost. So let me give you an example. Unicorn is a 1 cost hero, and there are 45 copies of every single 1 cost hero. Okay, so there are 45 unicorns in the game. There are 45 God of War in the game. Okay, so your total pool, so this means how many 1 cost heroes there are in the entire game, is 585. Okay, so there's 13 unique 1 costs, there's 45 of each of them, multiply those two numbers, and you get 585 1 cost heroes in the entire game. Okay, so here's the part that most of you care about. What's my chance of getting a specific 1 cost hero? Okay, so say you want a God of War, what's your probability of getting a God of War? That is 7.69%. Okay, so at the very beginning of the game, each slot in your shop, there's a 7.69% chance that it will be a God of War. Okay, that's how you look at it. And that carries on for the rest of the heroes. So most of you just are curious about this final column, which is the probabilities. Okay, so on to the next thing, cost distribution. What this is when you look in the game in the bottom right, it tells you what probability you have of getting a certain cost unit. So for instance, at level 1, you have a 100% chance of getting a 1 cost unit. At level 2, you have a 70% chance of getting a 1 cost and a 30% chance of getting a 2 cost, and it keeps going as you level, okay? So from level 1 to level 10. I highlight level 6 and level 8, and we'll discuss that later, but hopefully this part's pretty intuitive. So now starts getting into what the majority of players care about, okay? And that is, at a given player level, what is your chance of getting a very specific hero, okay? So now let's look at level 8, because most teams are built around level 8, okay? So level 8 is when a lot of players try to start re-rolling to fill out their comps. So at level 8, you have a 1.85% chance of getting a specific 1 cost unit. So let's say you're running a Divinity comp and you have 2 Gods of War and you really want to get that 3rd God of War so that you can get a 2-star God of War. So you ask yourself, what's my chance of getting a God of War? Then your chance of getting that God of War is 1.85%. And let's go through the math, and actually I'll show you the Excel numbers. This is the way they work, but what you're essentially doing is you're taking your probability of getting a 1 cost unit and you're multiplying it by your probability of getting a specific cost. Okay, so at level 8, you have a 24% chance to get a 1 cost unit, and you have a 7.69% chance to get that unit. Okay, and that results in the number that I showed you already, which is 1.85%. Okay, that's how you read it. At this point, I want to comment on something. These probabilities change when a hero is taken out of the pool, okay? So that 1.89 or 1.85% chance, and wait, let me make sure I'm looking at 1.85% chance, is assuming that nobody has a God of War. There's no God of Wars taken out of the hero pool, okay? So when heroes are taken out of the hero pool, that will change these probabilities, but getting into that complicates things a lot, and I don't want to do it in this video. Let's say if this video hits 100 likes, I will do a follow-up video where I explain the math behind a hero being taken out of the pool, and I show all of you how that happens. The reason I'm not doing it for this video is I'm really worried about going too hardcore on the math and like completely losing people. So I'm trying to keep this as simple as I possibly can. Okay, so on to the next step is reroll probability. And this is where people really, really care. So what that's saying is if I have 2 Gods of War and my shop reroll and I purchase 1 reroll, what is the probability that I will get my God of War? Okay, and that is actually 8.9. Okay, so if you have 2 Gods of War, you reroll once, you have an 8.9% chance at level 8 of getting that God of War. Okay, that's what this chart is saying. 1 reroll you can also count as the beginning of each level, because whenever your shop resets, that's the same as a reroll. Okay, and you look at these numbers and you wonder, well, wait, how is it 8.9 versus 1.8? Okay, and that is a good question. This 1.8% chance is based on every slot of your reroll. Okay, so when you reroll, you actually have 5 chances to get your God of War. So you have 5 chances at 1.85%. Okay, and then now some of you are saying, okay, well, wait, if I multiply 1.85 by 5, I don't get, right, 8.9. And that's just because of the way probabilities work. I am going to walk you through the math. What you do is I do 1 minus my probability of getting a God of War. So, and the reason you do that is now this probability, 1 minus my chance of God of War, means what is my probability that I don't get a God of War? Okay? And then I multiply that 5 times. Because what I'm saying is, what is the probability that I don't get a God of War in my next shop? Okay? And then I subtract that number by 1, because that will then inverse, and it tells me what my probability of getting a God of War in the next shop is. Okay? So that's how it works. So that's that. Okay? So now on to our next thing, which is actually 3, and let me actually highlight these, sorry. And this now becomes 3 rerolls, right? So we did 1 reroll, and now we're doing 3 rerolls, just so I could give you an example of how the numbers change. Okay, and I highlighted the opposite way. So let's change my highlight back. Okay, so again, let's look at 8. Okay, so if you reroll the shop once, you have an 8.9% chance of getting your God of War. If you reroll 3 times, you have a 24.38% chance of getting your God of War. Okay, once again, you can't just multiply because that's not how probabilities work. So finally, what I did is I made a chart based off of n rerolls, where n is the number of times you reroll the shop. So if you look right now, my n is 3. So saying I reroll 3 times is my chance of getting my God of War. 24.38 in matches, okay? But let's say you reroll, you have 50 gold, so you're gonna reroll, let's say 20 gold, meaning you would refresh the shop 10 times. So if you refresh the shop 10 times, your probability of getting your 1 cost God of War is 60%. Okay? So I think this final chart is really what most of you care about. I have a few options. I can make an infographic, and the options are right here. I can make this document, and especially this last table, I can make it available to everybody via maybe a Google Docs, or I can host it on my website, something where everybody can come in and they can play with the numbers. I can make like an infographic just based on maybe like 1, 3, 5 rerolls, something like that, to give you a feel for how many rerolls you're going to need to make. Or if any of you have a better idea of what I could do to share to make this information easily accessible to people, let me know what that is in the comments. But anyways, so those are the basic mechanics. I know it may have got a little crazy. Some of it may be hard to follow. I'm happy to answer any questions all of you have. If I did make a mistake and somebody sees it, let me know. But I'm pretty confident in this. I did try to double check to make sure I don't make mistakes. But you never know. So that's that. Now let's talk about, I want to close this video by talking about a few things to consider based on what we've learned, okay? So once again, level 8 is when most of us think, so let's talk about only level 8, just because that's when a lot of people start to reroll. Okay, well, one intuition is you're most likely to get 2 cost units when you're level 8. So what's that mean? That means that if you have an 8-man team that has multiple 2 costs in it, then you are more likely to be able to get that team to 2 stars than you are to be able to get a team that has 1 cost units or 3 cost units, right? Or if you have a team that has a lot of epics, like let's say 2, 3, 4 epics, and you're level 8 and you're rerolling, you have a very low probability of getting those epics to 2 stars without spending an enormous amount of gold, okay? So right now, this 50% chance to get an epic, that's only if you reroll 10 times. So if you're willing to spend 20 gold to reroll, you still only have a 50% chance of hitting an epic, okay? And that's only 1. You need to get 3 of those to get your 2-star, okay? So that's kind of what you want to be looking at in these charts. And a chart like this explains to all of you why I think average cost matters so much. When you're putting together a team comp, this is what you need to really consider about the different levels, the different heroes you include into builds. Because if you include too many high cost units, your probability of getting those units is extremely, extremely low. But anyways, I think I'm going to close the video there. Like I said, if you all enjoy this video, I can do follow-ups where I give more detail. A lot of you, I'm sure you can ask questions. You can ask me to like clarify on things in the comments. And if something comes up a lot, I will also do a follow-up video to clarify on that. But I really hope you all enjoyed this. I was really hesitant to do this video because I know it's going to get very mathy and maybe hard to follow. So I kind of hesitated, but I hope I did a good job. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. And the likes, the comments, they all help Squirrel Nation grow because they make YouTube look at it, the video, and say, you know what, this is something we should share with other people who don't know about it. So I always appreciate those who comment. I always appreciate those who like. So anyways, love you all. I'll catch you later. Take care.